Good morning and welcome to the 9th episode of this series where these Sims have to scavenge and gather resources in order to craft the items they need for their survival in this post-apocalyptic world and ultimately rebuild society. In the last episode, they freed up some unused space to build themselves a garden, and they have started a pantry so they can start creating a nice food supply before winter comes. After we've left them, Kome started on some flower arrangements because he has a green thumb, but it's unlikely that he will pursue this path since he is a woodcutter and we need him for other things. Sandy continued cleaning up around the settlement and harvested the haystacks that are now drying outside. Oh yeah, and there's been rain and thunder almost the entire night, so it was really nice that they could mostly stay safely inside to work on their skills and get themselves cleaned up and rested for the next day. So I've also started to think about their lifetime wishes, at least for these first 18 Sims, because I very much think of the other 6 that we still have to find as part of the original group. So there were 18 townies that we extracted from the old Pleasant View and put in this world. And so we've got Ivy, Amin, Andrea, Joe, Marissa, and Benjamin. And Jen. Don't forget Jen. So we've got 19. And they are very much part of the original group in my mind. But yeah, the new survivors, we will probably take a more random approach, like whatever lifetime wish they end up at the settlement with, they will keep. Maybe unless they visit a psychologist that we will have in the future, and they can get sort of like therapy or reflection sessions and they might change their mind and get a new lifetime wish. But other than that, I think we will keep the ones that we have. But for these original first survivors, I wanted their lifetime wishes to really fit their character, and part of making this world most enjoyable, I think, is making these characters as perfectly fitting to how we all know them, or at least how I see them in this case, and put that in this world. So I adjusted a few lifetime wishes and we are going to take a look at the rest of them and change them together later on in this episode. Another thing worth mentioning before this day starts is that Brandon and Kome have been talking during the night. They are having some issues with John's big plans. They think that he is a dreamer and it's them that have to do the labor to actually build these houses. So I'm sure that we'll hear some more about that during their morning meeting. Also, a funny detail, a little bit after this conversation, they actually started themselves gossiping about John. So yeah, they're definitely in sync with the story. So yeah, they've already started their day around 5 a.m. this morning. Most of them were able to sleep through the night, and we see that Kome here is making his second flower arrangement. It might look like he did this all night, but he didn't. He made one yesterday evening and one this morning. But they are down to their last simoleon. And we can see that Kennedy has been working out. He did sleep during the night, but he got up really early and started working out again. Brandy has already started on making them breakfast, so let's get the others ready too, and we will sit down with them during their morning meeting. Looks like Brandy is done preparing. So let's see if the others are awake. Yeah, we can wake them all up, let them come outside. So it's now 6 a.m. We're going to let everyone get their breakfast and we'll join them during their second campfire meeting. Now, I like micromanaging, as you might know if you've seen more of my videos, but John ending up in this exact seat is something that just always happens by itself, and it has become somewhat of a thing to sort of think of that chair as like the chair where the leader would sit, sort of at the head of the table speaking to the others. So yeah, just thought I'd share that. I think it's funny. So during the meeting, I think John would praise the entire group for the team effort of putting the garden and the pantry together. And then he quickly moves on to bigger goals that he sees for them, like having a separate storage area, a greenhouse, and all of the houses that he wants built for them. And as you might have seen, Abhijit walked away quite quickly. He thinks it's a bit much to start jumping to the next big projects after their hard work from the last few days. And Brenda kind of missed her cue to use the bathroom, so she was complaining a little bit. And here we see that Kome is farting hearts over Melissa, which I thought was really cute. Also, if you've seen the Big Brother episode, or the Pleasant View Townie episode, you know that every moment that Christy and Marilena spent together is like a big flashback to that whole episode. But here we see that Komei is going to give Abhijit the rest of the items that Abhijit needs to start crafting the compost bin and a few other things. But it's really after the meeting that things went down. So the meeting kind of ended with everyone just nodding to John or walking off and stuff like that. There wasn't really like a joint decision or a joint opinion to do one thing or the other. And so after the meeting, they continued their discussions inside, and Brandon starts telling John that he thinks his dreams are way too big. He's not being realistic. He's being a dreamer. And does he realize that they are the ones that have to build all these things? And if he thinks that all of that is possible in only a few weeks, he would have to come down to the construction site himself and take a look at what is going on, or lend a hand and do something. Of course, John thinks it's nonsense and he just has to believe in it. And if we just work closely together with a few extra hands, anything is possible. So they kind of agree that they're going with a bigger crew to the construction site today. And also Kennedy has become more and more annoyed with living so closely with the others. And it's hard to tell what is bothering him at this point, really. So a huge part of this challenge is mostly planning out their days in advance and planning their chores and skill building every day. I usually do that before I start filming because it's not very interesting to watch that process like every single time. But I thought that we would walk through those steps together today, and I'll talk about why they are going to do the chores that I planned for them, which will give us a chance to look at some more achievements and progress along the way. And after that, we'll send the builders to work and go on our second trip to the cornfields, because there is some stuff there that we want to bring home. So let's start out by giving them the additional jobs. So we are going to have Guppy and Melissa, who are miners, and John, to all three join Brandon and Komei in their building career. Now this might be a temporary thing and they are going to move on to other things later. But Melissa, they need 3 points in mechanical, body and creativity. And both Melissa and Guppy lack a few creativity skills, but are otherwise very well suited to join them in that building career. John, however, is supposed to start working on the political path, but it wouldn't hurt him to work on the houses for a few days. So that's what we're going to do. So the Simlander is right under here. So we're going to give him career, adult career, not architecture, but architect. There it is. And let's see, let's do the same for Guppy and Melissa. Okay, so that's that. They will go to their jobs around 7 a.m. and I do want most of them to be clean, so they will have a better work performance, I guess. We have been using the bathtub, and they actually did almost all of them get a bath in the last few hours, but somehow they all got dirty again. So what I thought we'd do is we will put out some of the water buckets. We have 38 now in Brandy's inventory, and I think Christy has a few too. Christy has 3. We have like over 60, 70 buckets of water, so I think it's more than okay to use a few to wash themselves like in the old-fashioned way, like we did in the first 2 days. So we're going to put out 5 buckets right here. There we go. And that means that John can wash himself here. Sandy can wash herself here. And Brenda is already standing here, so she can wash herself. And afterwards grab a plate because she hadn't eaten yet. And let's see. I think Brandon should really wash himself, and if he has time he could be outside. But I'm not sure that he will have time for that. So yeah, those are the first thing. Oh, I'm forgetting Komei, right? Yeah, I am. So let's have him use that bucket. And then come back out here. So first things first, that was that. Then on to Abhijit. He is going to close this cabin thingy because it's always open when you load the lot, and it's kind of interfering with this thing. But I don't want to move it. I like the place that it's in. Anyway, he's going to close it, be outside, and then he's going to come back here, and he is going to craft a compost bin. Now, we need Kome to saw a few more planks. You know what? Let's do that first. We need square beams, if I'm not mistaken, and he can bathe himself after that. I forgot which bucket I gave him, so we'll give him the one that is not being used afterwards. And then go back here. And then Abjit, he is going to start crafting a compost bin. So, because he does have the items for that, because Kome just gave him those. So, yeah, he can freshen up after the others have gone to work. Now, Brandy, she is talking about cooking with Christy right now, but she can just continue making meals, make many group meals, and keep making comfort soups until this is empty. So I stocked this thing right here in the pantry, and she can actually reach it. I'll also put some vegetables on the shelves right here that they had found. We are going to use the shelves for other things too. It's the only downside to this is that it's visible. There is one other thing that you could use if you would want to do this. That's like the stone version of the Sun and Moon, like the stone superset. So this one from the stone superset is like low enough that you could probably hide it in the cupboards. So that would be probably a better start than starting out with the jar. But we've got all of our food points in there right now, so we need to use those before we can throw this out. And we'll have another space where we will keep our food. If we have a little bit more space along this side, we are going to add this little thing, which is like a below ground cellar where they can keep their food, which to me is really realistic that they would do it that way. So yeah, moving on to Brandon. So he's going to wash himself. We did that. Brenda has her chores cut out for her, and Christy has been in charge of the water supply mostly, and these are full, so she can definitely start fetching, get more water, and then she should be able to plant more seeds, but I'm guessing it's not an option now because there is no money. Yeah, exactly. So she does have the tomatoes in her inventory, and technically you could dry the seeds and plant new tomatoes with those seeds. So I think that is what she's going to do. I think Brandy has a few. Yeah, let's sell these. Then we will also know what these were worth. 6 apiece. That's not bad actually. That's quite a lot. I think they need 8. So we'd need 96 if we would plant these, but it doesn't really matter. She can just start doing that and see where she ends up. So we can't fertilize because there's no fertilizer, but we can plant many tomatoes. We found lots of tomatoes. We even have like more tomato plants right here. So yeah, we are going to use the tomatoes that we harvested, use their seeds, and plant new ones. Taking care of the garden and the water and the food supply is really something that has been part of what the scavengers are responsible for. And actually, Christy is a creative sim, so she should be spending much more time behind her pottery wheel. But since there aren't that many others in charge of the food supply, and the ones that are supposed to help with that are not here yet, she is doing most of the work. So she has been really busy in this settlement. Let's see, moving on to Goopy. We're going to wake him up, and he is going to get the job and help at the building sites today. John, we already did John. Now Kennedy. Kennedy, we are just going to send him out here, because if we don't, he keeps fighting with everyone. And we don't want that. So I'm going to, let's see, let him harvest blueberry snacks. So he steps outside, and then we are going to let him work out. That means that he is probably going to work out somewhere around here, which is fine. It's better than him doing that in the kitchen. Kome is going to saw that plank and hopefully wash himself, and then he is going to work. He is also still missing some creativity points and one mechanical skill. And I think the only one that actually has the skills to move on to the real architecture career is Brandon, who is now mechanical, 3 in body, and 3 in creativity. So he is ready to move on, but he is going to go with the others one more day to see what happens. And then Marilena. Now her hobby is tinkering, and Melissa actually unlocked the tinkering achievement, which is why we have Dee Dee's workbench right now. Christy unlocked the nature achievement, which is why we have the flower bench right now, and they crafted that. Abhijit crafted all of these things. And I think John now has 5 points in arts and crafts, which means that we can start crafting an easel. But we need a few more components for that. But after that, Abhijit is going to start crafting that easel, which means that more of these Sims will be able to start working on their creativity skills, which is good because they really, really need it. Now, Marilena has the hobby to tinker, but we don't really have that many options to do that. She could potentially build stuff up here, but we do want to keep our crafting points. Right now, these are just seeds. So we are going to plant the tomatoes, and after that, there's not going to be much left. We are not going to build knife blocks out of tomatoes. So she is not really going to do anything about that. But we do want her at some point to gain a few more body skill points. Maybe even help out in the building crew. So we are going to do the same for her as we did with Kennedy. So I'm going to let her gather some mushrooms, harvest some blueberries as a snack, and then she's just going to work out. Work on her body skill until it's time to move on to the next thing. So then we have Melissa, who is trying to talk to Marilena. She is then also going to get a job. I think she can still take a short nap before they leave, because we need her later today. And then Sandy, which was the last one, she is going to use the chamber pot and then empty the tub and clean it, wash herself so Christy can fill up the tub again. And after that, she is going to come back here and start working on the soap. So yeah, let's press play and see if everyone finds their way. I'm not sure throwing the trash in a fire is a good idea there. That's going to smell. Yeah, they did not all find their way. So we are going to move Marilena if we're not too late yet. She can work out right here. And that should free up the path for the others. Let's cancel this for her. Architect career, take job, yes please. And now all we have to do is put them in the right job level. So let's do that. So apprentice builder, that's the right one. She is not in the right one. Careers, set level, I think it's 3, right? Apprentice builder, yes, okay, cool. So Kome is apprentice builder, John is an apprentice builder, Brandon is an apprentice builder, and who am I missing? Goopy. Goopy is also a furniture assembler, so we are also going to put him in level 3, which makes him an apprentice builder. So now all 5 of them will be ready to go in 2 minutes. There we go. So let's see. Brandon is leaving. No, he is trying to pee. Yeah, you can't reach that from there. So he's going without peeing. Doesn't really matter. John is leaving. He did not wash himself, unfortunately. And Kome is leaving. I think he would have time to wash himself before he goes. Let's try that. He can walk to work afterwards. Let's see. Did Brenda clean herself? Yeah, she did actually, but she didn't get something to eat. So grab a plate and maybe clean that up because that looks really, really weird. Let's see. Christy is planting the seeds, which is going well. And Sandy was just here. Where did she go? She went to bed. No, she's making the bed. Okay. Yeah, Kobe will be perfectly on time. So Sandy is going to come out here and we're going to take a look at that soap. So as you can see, they have been stocking this cauldron with the things that belong in here every time they pretty much passed it. So we've got fat agents in there, which were the bottles of oil that they found in the old storage room. Ashes that we have been collecting from the fire and every time that the fire burned. So Christy has lots more. We've got slack lime from the grinder. And this is pretty much all that we had up until now. There's water in here and fuel. But in order to make soap, we need 3 fat agents and 3 times the water. So 1 ash, 1 slack lime, 1 fuel, but 3 times water and 3 times fat agents. So Sandy is going to collect a bit more water so she can add those in here. And in the meantime, we are going to give Kennedy a job, because he is supposed to start as the soil identifier today. He is really close to getting his 5th body point skill, which he needs for this job, but we are going to give him this job today. Mostly because I want to make some progress in every video. If I would play this for myself, I wouldn't mind some extra grinding to get there and waiting 1 more extra day. But for this episode, I really want him to go to his job today. So he is so close that we are just going to do that. Natural scientist. There we go. So he's going to stop working out. Let's see, she can stock the water 3 times. And Kennedy is going to get his job and probably immediately run to his job. Scatmaster, yeah. I've been going back and forth on that. And Scatmaster is actually closer to what he has been doing, especially on the last scavenging trip. But since the challenge said that he is supposed to get the soil identifier career, he is going to go there. It's mostly about that chance card. I hope it pops up today, but if it doesn't, we'll see it at some point, I guess. You don't have to do that now. You've got a job now. Okay, so Kennedy is going to his job, so let's move over to Sandy, who was stocking the cauldron. And now that all the water is in here, she can actually make a soap solution. So let's do that. So this is going to take a while. She will stir this cauldron until there is a nice soap solution that we can use to wash their laundry. They've been collecting a lot of laundry and they've been creating a lot of laundry. So yeah, we could definitely use that. Let's see where Marilena's going. Apparently Marilena didn't feel like working out anymore. She is also kind of hungry. We could check if there is... You know what? She has berries. She could eat some berries. Let's have her do that. And then the last one to get a job today is Brenda. So we are going to give her the job of adventurer, and that will be a relic liberator. Let's see. So Christy has been talking to Abjit. I think it is time for her to fill up the bathtub again so that Sandy can actually wash herself. And some of the others might want to wash themselves too. Let's see, why did Brandy stop cooking? Oh, we've got a chance card, so it's a bit chaotic right now. While framing a house, Goopy whacked his thumb with a hammer. Should he release his agony with an ear-splitting screech of pain and a few choice swear words, or should he bite his tongue, feign coolness, and pretend he's not in pain? I think he would definitely scream, so let's see. Goopy's blood-curdling shriek draws the attention of the entire crew. To Goopy's astonishment, they start applauding and congratulate Goopy on becoming one of the gang. Goopy's supervisor, I guess by now would be Brandon, helps bandage the aching thumb. Goopy gains 2 charisma points. That'll come in quite handy. Oh, and we have a little traffic jam on our hands here, so that's why Brandy stopped cooking. This is a hobby chance card, I just want to ignore those. Brandy is going to resume cooking. Take the job, but we are going to change that. She did have the wish to get a job in the adventurer career, so this is actually going to give her some aspiration points, which is nice for a change. I think it's level 5, I'm not even sure. Yeah, Relic Liberator. Okay, cool. So she is going to bring in some extra crafting points every day. And the idea there is that she is going out in the world and just finding useful stuff. It could be like the flowers or greenery or anything that they need for the flower working bench. It could be some extra wood pieces that they can use to craft items on the workbench. Could be all sorts of things. So that's the idea behind it. And you might think, why would they need a flower bench in the middle of a post-apocalyptic world? Well, the idea behind that is, so Kome now has like 2 of these plants, daisy bouquets. They just represent a certain value of greenery. So whenever they build a house, there's always going to be like a little green patch or garden or something green in there. And so this is just the budget for when they actually build the houses. So we are going to give these bouquets together with the logs and the planks and everything that they need. And the treasure chest, don't forget the treasure chest. We're going to give that to the couple who is moving out. They will then move to a temporary lot, sell all the items, and then move into the actual house that has been built for them. So that's why we need that. So I think Brenda can continue practicing her speech. She doesn't work until 2 in the afternoon, so she's got a lot of time on her hands. She is now following Christy. I didn't really mean for him to do that. We can craft the last item that we need from him, which is the easel. So let's do that. Easel, there it is. Oh, she gained her charisma skill. Nice. She now has 2 points. She needs 1 more. Okay, so Abhijit finished crafting. Let's see. So he made 2 items today. One is the easel. We might change this out for a different one, but this is the one that we have right now. I actually didn't really think about where to place this. I think we might actually utilize this space right here. Another idea is to just put it right here. Yeah, we're stacking a lot of things on top of each other, but I think this will be fine for now. We could see if we can change it out for another one. I'm not really too fond of the looks of this one. We can actually. I think I like this one. Yeah, let's use this one. But I do think I should change it out for... I'm missing a mod, apparently. I'm missing the more functional easels that Belladova put together from all the work that a lot of other simmers have done, modders have done, to the easels. But yeah, we should really put that mod in. I thought I had it. So when Goopy comes home, he can start practicing his painting. He will be happy that he can do that. And the second item, or actually the first item, was the compost bin. And we're just going to place that in here. This is going to give us a first start with actually getting fertilizer. So that will be really helpful. Yeah, so I guess that's it for now. Let's see how the building crew is doing. So, as you could see, Brandon and John have been talking a lot about their difference in ideas about what they are building. And Brandon is definitely very skeptic about what John wants. He tells him that if you want to build yourself a mansion, go ahead and you build it. But these cabins are what we as a group can build for each other to have our basic needs met and have a roof over our heads. And John knows that Brandon has a point, but he knows that if they can just push themselves, they can accomplish so much more for themselves in the long run. We don't just need houses. I want us to build a town here with comfortable houses and give everyone a chance to fulfill their dreams, so we can really build something lasting down here. And even though John makes a great speech, Brandon is thinking about all the hard work that the building crew is doing, sawing every plank that goes into these houses, one by one, putting them together with the nails that they crafted themselves from the iron ore they collected from the mines and then smelted, is hard work, and he worries that they won't finish before winter. John is definitely the dreamer out of the two of them, but he is also the person with the long-term vision, and his ideas are probably what is going to bring this community to a better way of life. But Brandon is telling him that this house is finished. It's got a roof on it. It has everything we need to move out of the settlement and start a real life. But John just keeps disagreeing with him, telling him he thinks too small. He needs to think bigger. Dream bigger. And Brandon sort of tells him, you and your big visions. We cannot build 6 mansions before winter, but we can build 6 small cabins before winter. Everything else you need or everything that you want to add to this, you have to work for. And in the end, I don't think John is taking it as a rejection. He is taking it as an invitation to motivate them even more and come up with even better ideas. Or, at least bigger ideas. And at the end of their workday, I think John is really pleased with the work that they've done so far. The others mostly go to their beds to sleep because they are all very tired. And we will let them sleep for a few hours since it's still early in the afternoon. And we are going to let them continue with crafting and skill building after they have rested a bit and they are ready to be productive in the rest of the afternoon. And of course the first one to try out the new easel had to be Goopy, so he walked over to where we had put it and started painting. But of course he is way too tired to actually continue after those hours on the construction site, so he is going to bed too. He will certainly get time for that this afternoon. So moving over to Sandy, I think she can make another soap solution and then have a nap on the couch afterwards. They did find a washing tub, so we are going to look at their inventories at the end of this episode and make sure that they are actually going to do the laundry with the soap that she is making. But yeah, this is the first step really, and we can see that Brandy is cleaning up a little bit of the piles of laundry. Oh, and Brenda needs to wake up and go to her job, the first day of her job. So let's do that. She is actually still a bit tired, but we're going to wake her up anyway. And yeah, I forgot about that outfit. I guess it's okay for now. We might stop her from changing into that, but I guess it's okay. And yeah, she is going to go to work and come back later today. And in the meantime, John and Brandy have started taking care of the new garden and watering the plants. And also, John has noticed that Abhijit and Christy are missing. So when they came home, these guys were not there. And he is going to ask Brandy about it and make sure that they are okay, I guess. It's the first time that a few members of the group have left the settlement without letting the others know, and John is worried about them. So Brandy tells him what she knows because she is the one that has seen them last, and she did hear them talking. So this morning when the others were at work and Brandy was cooking, Abhijit and Christy sat down together, and Christy tells him that she heard there are still so many useful items at the shed behind the old cornfields. Brandy told her there was flour and grain, and she is really eager to go and get them and add all of it to their new pantry. But John has told her to wait until there are more survivors available to help, because he doesn't think it's safe to go out with less than 4 survivors at once. Abhijit finds the whole thing nonsense. If there is stuff we need, we should go and get it. We have time now, we are not doing anything useful right now. But Christy is a bit hesitant and thinks they should listen to John. He has been watching out for them since all this started. But Abhijit just gets a bit annoyed at that point, just like he ran out of the meeting this morning. He says, why wouldn't we be able to get those items? We are just as capable as John or Brandy or Marilena or Brenda. Why don't they see that? Besides, I can see the shed from here. I don't see what could go wrong. It's just around the corner. So, with Brandy only having heard the first part of that conversation, she and John put one and one together and figure out that they probably did go to the old cornfields by themselves. They also agreed that they are not going to run after them immediately. They are not children after all, and the cornfields are just around the corner and they can see them from here. So they agree to wait for them to come home. They can't be that long gone after all, and John will talk to them when they come back. Besides, John has something much bigger that he wants to talk to Brandy about. He tells her about visiting the construction site this morning and how the first house almost is ready and how he envisions their house to become. And Brandy paints a beautiful picture of a garden to grow crops and where her children can play. And John states, I want you to have all of that and more. So after this romantic moment for these two, I think the others are slowly starting to wake up. So it's also time for us to get back to work and send everyone to their crafting and skill building chores. And hopefully Christy and Abhijit will be home soon, because it's been almost 4 hours now since they've been gone. And the ones that are sleeping haven't even missed them yet. And John and Brandy, with all that romance going on, might have forgotten the whole Christy and Abhijit situation for a moment there. But they did actually go to the cornfields, and they have been out there for a few hours now. So I think Sandy has some time to get some extra water and fill up the bathtub again. And we are going to wake up Komei and Brandon and Goopy, because we want him to continue his drawing, or finish his drawing, so he can go outside and start painting. And Kennedy is home. Oh wait, we need Goopy to clean himself first. So we'll give him a bucket, he can wash himself, and then finish the drawing and start painting. So let's give John, Brandy and Kennedy coffee, because they really need it. And we have 4 coffees left, so it's not a lot, but yeah, we have 1 emergency coffee for if we really need one. So John and Brandy can end their dancing and their romantic afternoon, since everybody is waking up, and energize a bit before the evening starts. And I think this is also a good moment to start looking at their lifetime wants and their aspirations. Synchronized coffee drinking. So at the beginning of this series, and we have some footage here from their very first day, these guys got their aspirations and lifetime wishes, but we've never looked at them. I used Sophie the Puffin's aspiration calculator, and I will link it in the description of this video. We are not going to change any of their aspirations because I want to keep these survivors as close to their Pleasant View counterparts as possible, but I do want to take a look at their lifetime wishes. And usually I give them an aspiration and a lifetime wish in my other neighborhoods with my other Sims, purely based on the general vibe I'm getting from them or family dynamics. But since I wanted to get a bit more of an objective view for this playthrough, I decided to note the top 3 outcomes of that calculator in my spreadsheet to form a more objective image of who these survivors really are. So yeah, when you're ready, let's jump in and we'll adjust some lifetime wishes. So starting with Komei. Komei is first and foremost a public enemy, which is one of the 2 possible outcomes of a popularity sim when he is in fact a fortune sim. In the second place, he is a hard worker, and third, a strict parent, which were both also very fitting for his character, I think. So I created these sims with Lamar's 15 extra lifetime wishes in the game, and Komei randomly got assigned the head of a successful family, which means he will want to reach the top of his career and have children in important positions in the town. He has the fortune aspiration, and I've always seen him as not very talkative, but quite headstrong or set in his ways, working hard in the way that he thinks is best to achieve status and success. Not only for himself, but for his entire family and for his legacy. It makes total sense to me and ties together the popularity, fortune, and even the family part of his outcome together perfectly. So we're keeping his wish. Next up is Brandon. His outcomes were Friend of the World first, Shady second, and Hedonist third. None of these are linked to the romance aspiration. But the carelessness or lack of morals of the Shady combined with the Hedonist might explain why he wouldn't be opposed to having several romances at the same time. I do feel that it is not something that he would pursue, but more something that he would explain just happens to him, and he is not going to walk away from it. He does have this certain casual vibe, I think, which might also explain why he is not enjoying the hard physical labor. So we know he's a romance sim, and his lifetime wish is to sew 300 items, so basically he wants to become a tailor. I love how practical these new wishes are, and in becoming a tailor he can totally use his love for arts and crafts, so we are keeping this wish for him. I also think it kind of fits him to want to be liked by everyone. Also, I'm not really interested in making this town something where everyone has romances with everyone, making this way too complicated, which is a risk of happening with all of these romance sims in one house. So we are definitely not going to actively pursue that. And then there's Goopy. We know that he loves to paint, and we know that he is a romance sim. The calculator gave us a Friend of the World, serial romances, and modest enjoyer as the highest outcomes. Now, in my other neighborhood, he was never a very successful artist, so we'll see how he does this time around. And throughout all the times that I've seen him, he always strikes me as someone who would avoid confrontation at all costs. He'd rather run away from difficult situations than face them, and he would never ever, like Brandon did this morning, seek out that confrontation with, for example, John, even when he totally doesn't agree with something. He will just keep to himself or walk away. Overall, I mostly feel that he values his freedom. But as you can see with Melissa walking by right there, he does have a certain charm. And that charm is mostly responsible for unexpected benefits coming his way. So looking at his aspiration, he is a romance sim, and he currently has the wish to become a hairdresser. Now, maybe we'll do that in the next lifetime for him, but for now I don't think that's very fitting, so we want to change that and we need an object for that. We need Lamar's lifetime wish chooser. And we are going to choose from the lifetime wishes that are available for Goopy personally. And I think that the one we want is right in there. Yeah, there it is. So we want him to become a visionary. So the way I went about the tech tree or the knowledge tree that I've been talking about but haven't shown you yet is that for the hobby related careers, we get an object whenever they reach 5 points in that hobby, and we unlock a career whenever a survivor gets 10 points in a certain hobby. So for Goopy, when he reaches his 10 points in arts and crafts, he is going to start as an artist. And this lifetime wish is going to make him want to pursue the top of that career. All of the 10 careers that are related to one of the hobbies, do not really progress the town any further. Like, we need doctors, we need teachers, we need mechanics and stuff like that to really build this town. But there's also going to be other careers that survivors can start, which mainly relate to their own individual goals, like an artist or florist or stuff like that. So it's more on the creative side. Of course, they will add something to the town and definitely to the community, especially also considering like cultural aspects and social aspects and stuff like that. But in a practical way, like we need wood and stone and clothes and food and stuff like that, they don't really add anything. So yeah, Guppy is going to become an artist and we'll have to see how he's going to do. I also think that Comey could really use a break right now, and Kennedy should start working out. John is a bit disappointed about the lifetime wish chooser. And I also just really, really love the traits that he rolled for. He loves to swim, he is a diva, he is dramatic, and he is a born salesperson. So yeah, I definitely think that Guppy is someone who would try to live his best life no matter the circumstances, searching for things or the company that makes him happy or fulfilled, and just avoid conflicts at any cost, because conflicts are not an enjoyable thing to him. And I also think he is much smarter than most Sims would give him credit for. The blueprints that he silently made this morning aren't all that bad and might actually be useful for the community. So looking at the time, I think we have time for only one more. But do let me know if you like this kind of background story for these survivors, because we can definitely continue this in the next episode. So let's take John. The calculator told me that John is a modest enjoyer, which would make him like a mild pleasure sim. He is shady, meaning he doesn't like to work hard but does want to get rich. I don't really like that second outcome for him. It doesn't really match, in my opinion. The only way that I could really tie that in is to explain it as him being a dreamer. He wants the big house, the big dreams, the big family, and the happy life. But he doesn't always realize that those are probably very big dreams, and that most of those things take actual hard work and don't happen overnight. Which also ties in with the hopeless romantic outcome, and I think his moments with Brandy also showed that side of him. So lastly, because I didn't like the second one very much, I checked what the fourth one would have been, and yes, that is stretching it, I know. But it was a huge family, so I was like, alright, I'm keeping that, yep. So John's lifetime wish, he is of course a family sim, and he has the lifetime wish to marry off 6 children, and I totally love that for him and Brandy, so yeah, we are definitely keeping that. So overall, I've always seen John as someone who likes to guide and teach others. But more than that, I think he likes to take care of others. And the ones that he likes to take care of can really be anyone, from his wife, his kids, to his friends, or the town in general. I also think that is why he sort of naturally became their leader. I think he feels that guiding the group to safety is mostly his responsibility, and he does take that seriously. Speaking of which, it is now getting dark, slowly, and Abhijit and Christy have not returned yet. So naturally everyone starts to get worried, and especially John, and he offers to go out there and try and find them. So we are going to send him on a hike, and we'll see what news he is going to come back with. So, yeah, I don't think that John is very amused about finding them like this. He's like, what the hell were you thinking? Coming out here alone and then this is how I find you guys? Do you have any idea how worried everyone was? And of course, Abhijit doesn't really care for being lectured like a teenager. His ego has been hurt enough already recently. He feels that he's not taken seriously by the others. And I think he just needed it to be seen as a hero for once. If not by the entire group, then at least by Christy. So let's jump to earlier this afternoon and see what events led to this unexpected thing. We know that Christy tried to flirt with Abhijit earlier in this series. It must have been yesterday or the day before. And he was just really grumpy and tired during those first hard days without water and while they were still searching for food and stuff. And they were just settling in. And he turned her down. I think he did regret that once he was a bit more well rested and felt more like himself again. So Christy shows Abhijit all the stuff in the shed and tells him, see, I told you there are sacks of grain and wine and flour in here and all sorts of things that we can use. And Abhijit hasn't questioned her for a second. I can see how hard you've been working. I'm not blind to that like the others seem to be. Sometimes I think they're deaf too on top of that. And she says, yeah, what about you? We wouldn't be anywhere near as far we are right now if it wasn't for you. And of course Abhijit is flattered and loves getting that validation, but he says, no, really, I mean it. I really see and appreciate all that you've been doing, and I just wanted to let you know. And I think Christy does really appreciate hearing that, so she hugs him. But they are here to do something, so she says, if you grab all of the tools in the shed and see what items you can use, I will go out and see if there is still clean water in the well. And this is of course when she sees it. There's a huge animal behind the bushes, so she gets scared, runs back into the shed, tells Abhijit, I saw something, it's huge, it's like a bear or something big, please come quick. And at first he teases her a little bit about it, like he doesn't believe that she's seen anything, it must have been nothing, must have been the wind. She's like, no, really. So he reassures her, everything will be okay, I'll go outside and don't worry. So yeah, this is sort of the danger aspect that we are going to add to all of the scavenging trips from now on. Just that we have a nice garden now does not mean that the survivors are safe. There are still many things to work towards and still many unknown dangers out there that they are unaware of. So we do a dice roll between 1 and 20, and whenever the outcome is higher than their combined body skill, we roll another die, telling us what animal they will encounter, and then the last dice roll will tell us what consequences they will face. In this case, Christy and Abhijit have a combined body skill of 0. So there was a 100% chance of encountering an animal, and we rolled for a sheep and then for chasing it off. So that was pretty lucky. I'm pretty sure that he tells the sheep that he's going to eat it if it doesn't go away. They will put it in their soup and it will be delicious. And somehow that does actually seem to scare the sheep away. Of course, when he goes in to tell Christy about it, the sheep is going to be a wolf, and his story about finding it will be much more courageous than what we just witnessed. But let's not spoil it for him. So after the excitement Christy felt and feeling safe again with Abhijit by her side, Christy falls asleep and Abhijit decides to take a nap too, knowing that he will have an evening of tinkering and crafting ahead of him. So at the end of all that, Abhijit, Christy and John return home with all of the stuff because they did take all of it. It just felt a bit anticlimactic, I guess, after that whole scene. So I shortened the footage, but yeah, here are the clips of them cleaning out almost the entire shed and taking everything that was in their home with them. There is some building equipment on the other side. We might return one more time to grab these, but we are going to take this canning pot. And the reason we have two is because we want one at the settlement and one in one of the houses. So that is why we are grabbing two. And yeah, they can come back one more time here and grab the last items. Oh, there's also a broom and dustpan here. I didn't know that. Also, if you hadn't noticed, I seem to have got a cold and my voice is really close to giving up now. But luckily we are nearing the end of this episode. So back at the settlement, John started opening the new geodes and fossils that the others had found. And I don't think that John is one to gossip, so I don't really expect him to talk about what he has seen today. And cracking open these geodes might be a nice way of getting rid of some frustrations that he might feel. And Abhijit and Christy were very hungry after their adventure, so they took some leftovers out of the pantry and had their dinner together, standing in the kitchen. I expect that they have a lot of things on their mind and are silently thinking about everything that has happened today while they are enjoying their soup. And outside, Kennedy is still working out. He has been doing that for a few hours now. And he has finally earned the 5th fitness skill. So he can take a rest now. I think he must be pretty tired. Yeah, he is. So we are going to let him take a break. If there's still food inside, he can grab some. Yeah, there is. But yeah, that is going to give us the option to craft another item. And originally I wrote down that they would build a ballet bar. Like they would have like one beam, wooden beam, and that would be the ballet bar. So that would be easy to craft. But it doesn't make any sense that they would do ballet to me. So instead of getting them a ballet bar, we are going to hang up a punching bag. And I think that would be much more fitting, but it's also a lot more expensive. So we need a few more resources. And luckily, Brenda should be home soon. So let's see. There she is. So she is probably going straight to bed because she is so tired. But she did bring home a lot of resources. So we are almost close enough in funds to actually build the punching bag. Abhijit is going to go in here and he is going to split an ingot stack. So he has separate ingots, iron ingots. There we go. And now we can craft a chain. And together with a few more components, I think that would be enough to hang up a punching bag. And the next thing that we are going to craft is a grill once Brandy reaches 5 points in cuisine. And she did actually reach 5 points in cuisine. I hadn't seen that yet. Okay, cool. So that is the next thing that we can craft and we'll do that in the next episode. Abhijit is finished. It's also almost 8 o'clock. So we should really start preparing for the next scavenging trip. And once again, we get rid of the chain that Abhijit just crafted, a few straw bales and a couple more items to get the right amount. And there we go. That's enough for the punching bag. So let's hang that up. And I thought that this area would be a good space for it. So let's see if we hang it here, if they can reach it. And the last thing that we'll do, Sandy is outside, she's crying. Well, you're not going to be happy about this because you're going to do laundry. Because a few days ago, or maybe yesterday, I don't remember, we did find a wash tub. And yeah, we are going to place that here. I think we should place it, this is the right way, but I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken, she has soap, she does, and she has a laundry pile. So she can now wash loads of laundry. Let's do that a couple of times. And this is finally going to give us a more sensible way of working on their cleaning skill instead of just mopping up those piles outside when it's raining, because that was the only way that we could work on their cleaning skill up until now. She needs water. I'm pretty sure that she needs water. Okay, so I've given her some water out of Brandy's inventory. Let's try that again. Yep, that did work. Also, Kennedy's punching bag seems to be working really well. So that's cool to see. And of course, it's not just his punching bag. The others can use it too. But I'm expecting that Kennedy will use it a lot. And hopefully that'll keep him from picking fights with the others. So I did some inventory management, and there's actually one thing that I completely forgot this morning, which is the drawings that Brandon has made. And of course we have seen it in the part about the construction site, but these are the blueprints that Brandon has made in the past few days. So these are the basic cabins that are going to be built for their first starter homes, and they can of course expand them and make them bigger, and there are going to be medium homes too, maybe later on, but yeah, these are the basic cabins, and pretty much every couple that is going to move out is going to get the same cabin, but they can expand it based on their own like specializations and stuff. So one is going to get a garden, maybe another one is going to get like a workbench and a crafting area, stuff like that. And John actually started making a blueprint without me telling him to, so. And even though it's a bit late, we are going to send a small group on our second scavenging trip. More importantly, we are going to find new survivors there. We have 6 gas points now, and in a new episode I will show you how we got those. But it will be so exciting to finally see the entire group together. And I know I was supposed to roll for their lucky find, and only one of those lucky finds is finding new survivors. But for the sake of this series, I don't want to wait any longer to add them to the group. I think it'll be much more fun to continue with everyone here and the new dynamic that we'll bring to the group. Besides, it won't be long until the first couples will start to move out, and it would be really nice to have them all here at the same time for at least a day or two. I'm sorry, Kennedy is making me laugh. Now, normally we would do the dice rolls to decide what location we are going to, but I thought that this time we could do something else. I think it would be really cool if you guys decide on what location you are going to find these survivors. So what I thought was I'm going to put up a poll on the community tab with 3 or 4 locations in the forest area that we haven't been to yet. And then you can vote to let me know where you would want the next scavenging trip to take place. I will probably not start filming until the 16th of October. So the poll will be open until that Monday morning. Monday morning for me, that is. So let's say 9 a.m. Central European time, which is Monday morning 9 a.m. for me. So I will check the outcome of the poll when I have my morning coffee and start preparing the location, and then I start filming in the afternoon. You can still vote after that time, of course, but it won't count. So I will add the results in the community post when I close it. Which means that the poll will be up for at least a week after this video goes on. So that should give you some time to watch the video, and even for some newer subscribers to kind of catch up in the series and watch the video, see the poll, and maybe even vote. So yeah, this video has been kind of a struggle between me losing my voice and losing my mind. But yeah, we got there in the end, so I'm happy about that. And I'm actually kind of happy how this video turned out. Losing my voice kind of forced me to experiment with subtitles a bit, and I kind of liked it, so maybe we'll do that some more in the future. Let me know if you prefer the spoken storylines or the subtitled storylines. It was fun to try it out anyway. So while these guys are sitting around the campfire discussing the new trip, it's Saturday night, and in a few hours it will be summer, which means that we can start to harvest even more of the crops. And I think the survivors accomplished a lot in this episode. They built some houses, they actually built one of the town services, but I didn't show you that yet. And yeah, there's lots more that they are going to do, but overall I think it was a productive day, and I hope you enjoyed it.
As always, I want to thank you for spending time with me, following these survivors on their way to rebuild society in a new world. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!